Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Trailer Boys, our first ever episode, podcast actually. When I'm joined today by Zach. How are you doing, Zach?
Oh, not too bad. Living the life.
So, if you guys are new to this podcast, we're going to be talking things all about, let's say, just life in Wisconsin, just rigging up stuff in the garage, every sort of thing under the weather, under the umbrella of that sort of hemisphere. You have anything else to
Yeah,
add to
our
that,
life.
Zach?
Yeah, our life is basically a bunch of hodgepodge projects that have been thrown together, and sometimes we get hurt, sometimes it works out well. And I think there's a few stories from the last few years to talk about, and maybe even inspire some people to get outside and have some fun on their own.
Well put, well put. So you want to jump into our first topic today, Zach?
Yeah, we are. Let's talk about fishing with the boys. And if there was not videos out there titled Fishing with the Boys, there would be no podcast. Fishing with the Boys started kind of like a sitcom episode. We were talking about how we used to pull random things behind sleds, and we're looking for what is the next thing we could pull behind a sled. And several of us looked up at a canoe at the same time, and next thing I knew, I was in the back of the canoe. We were being pulled by sleds, getting thrown out of the canoe into the snowbank. That is the best intro for fishing with the boys that I could ever give you. So,
Yeah, it's definitely a really good icebreaker. So basically how it went down is just like Zach explained, we all looked up at this canoe, we brought it down, we rigged it up to a sled, and for Wisconsin layman terms, that's just what we call snowmobiles. So we hooked it up. I think how long was our first rope? I'm pretty sure that baby was only like 6 feet, so we had to go get
it
rig up
was
another
it
one.
was not long. I know when I would sit in the front seat of the canoe, you would just get nailed by the snow getting kicked up from the sled. Just like if you didn't have anything covering your face, it would just be basically frostbitten. It was the worst fun I have ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, it was definitely a handful. So me and the other guys went in the shed and we tore off and we actually J rigged a couple ropes together and made it longer, but that didn't actually help the problem. It made it actually a little bit worse in some regards. Zach, you want to tell about the long rope incident?
Which rope incident?
Well, okay, I'll just so folks, I rigged up a nice long about once I increased the rope length, it was about 9 feet. So every time I would stop, the guys in the
Oh,
canoe would just fly by me and literally four times tipped over the sled. So we went toppling over. Poor camera guy kept getting his hands drenched in the snow.
I forgot about that. That's what you're talking about. There are some videos of me in the canoe and that canoe just goes flying past the sled and you hit that pretty hard. It's kind of whiplash.
Yep. Yeah, if we didn't have Bueller in the back, we that whole thing would have just swung right around that sled there. So
Like, I just want to say that Bueller kind of saved the day a few times when it came to that by having him in that canoe. So he also took the sacrifice to be the camera guy a lot. So um,
yeah, that was
I have nothing
helpful.
bad to say about him in the canoe.
Oh yeah, for sure. He was a pretty good I mean, honestly, if he wasn't back there, we would have gotten into a lot more trouble. I'm not gonna lie. He's a really good
Well,
anchor.
let's be real. There were a few of us that were pretty light back in the day, and you throw us in the canoe, and then you pull it at 30 miles an hour, and you're jumping over snowbanks. You're kind of getting tossed around there.
Yeah, the uh, to add on to the fact, Cash wasn't super excited about being a part of that little incident, so he took a tab
Cash,
on that.
I just want to say that it's very convenient that Cash is not here today when we're talking about the canoe, and he may or may not have been invited, probably not, but I'm still going to take the chance to point out that he is not here, and I can say what I want to say about that.
Yeah, so speaking of Cash, I approached him one day. We all went over to his house and we're like, "Hey, you wanna try out this new rigged up machine we got going on?" And he's like, Oh hell no! I'm going back in my house to get more Z's. Yeah, he was not. He was not excited about that. Let me tell you what, folks.
Cat Cash would sleep in that house for so long back in the fishing with the boys days. And for context, this was winter 2019 going into early 2020, so right before COVID. He would sleep in that house for so long that we nicknamed it Zone 36 because he'd sleep in there for 36 hours a day. So that's all he did when the canoeing started happening.
Oh man. Yeah, those yeah, we'll have to bring up airsoft, but that's another good topic we'll have to bring up another time, guys, when Cash is on. But yeah, there's a lot to say about our little airsoft tournaments and stuff like that. So
That could be a 5 hour episode with all those stories, especially if we get into the firecrackers. So we'll save that for another day.
for sure, for sure. All right, do we have anything
Yeah.
else to add on fishing with the boys, you think? Or that was the
There's,
main
there's a
one.
lot. There's I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I lucked out. There were several times everyone had that experience of going 40 something miles an hour down the driveway in the back of that canoe and it flips. Um, I lucked out because I fell out of it and kind of just slid out of it and slid down the driveway. Other people got sucked underneath. Um, I was honestly just glad I wasn't the driver when any of that happened. I was the rider. So,
Wait, you were the one that when I took a jump, well, you guys were in the canoe and you fell out of the canoe and you just kind of sat there. It didn't really hurt, but it was better to fall out of the canoe than to be in the canoe when it crashed.
yeah, it was way better if you fell out. Most of the videos I have from crashing, we just fell out. And unless you hit ice, it was fine. Most of it was just soft snow. But yeah, get falling out is way better than getting sucked underneath.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean there is another one where we hooked up a couple of tubes. I don't know, did we hook up there were the two tubes from I think we bought these off Amazon and these ones kept popping, but they were just good enough
Huh.
and they said do not recommend that. That's what it said on the box. Do not pull this behind tubes. But us being in the winter being bored, there's really nothing else to do if you're not into skiing or snowmobiling, so basically
Yeah,
yeah.
that was fun when we went up to a lake in Lincoln County, actually a private pond up in Lincoln County when it was frozen, and just pulled those tubes behind the sleds on that frozen pond. That was awesome.
Did we? Yeah, we hooked up the. That was fishing with the girls. That was part two to fishing with the boys, but it was like fishing with the girls, and we had a tube behind the. I think it was just a fishing boat. It wasn't a canoe this time, so we'll have to have Zach up there for that one. We'll make
Heck
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a good time too. Um.
Yeah, all those adventures. We could probably at least have an hour podcast about all those adventures in Lincoln County too.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
um,
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was some
so
hiking stuff too as well, but
so for segueing, after winter happened, we got hit with COVID. There were a few of us that were college students at the time, so we found ourselves sitting at our kitchen tables doing schoolwork. And like a lot of people, we said screw it and we're going to go hang out with our friends anyway. So during COVID, and this was actually probably after the lockdowns, all the snow had melted and it transitioned from fishing with the boys with a canoe behind a sled to we took an old trailer frame, put plywood as a base, and then we took a lawn chair and strapped the lawn chair to the trailer so that we would just pull the trailer behind a four-wheeler around Porter's yard with someone strapped into this lawn chair. And that wasn't the only design. There was another one that had a lower seat, but that was our summer ride, was riding around a trailer with a lawn chair strapped to the top of it.
was that did I pull you with the dune buggy with that one, or was that the four wheeler that time?
The time I got hurt was on the four wheeler, but I know there are videos of the trailer being pulled at least empty behind the dune buggy.
Oh, okay, interesting, interesting. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, segueing after what he just pointed out with this trailer. So I came up with the brilliant idea to, hey guys, I somehow convinced these guys, like, guys, let's go down to Harbor Freight, let's get a little petrol engine, and let's see if we can make this thing self-sufficient with and so just hook the motor up and make turn it into some kind of a jerry-rigged machine so it can operate on its own. God knows that didn't happen, so we convinced them to go down to good old Menards. We bought what did we buy? We bought it was three like 8x4 plywood. I can't
Yeah, it was a
remember.
lot of
It
lumber.
was a lot of plywood. And then we got probably like 12 2x4s. And we slotted them in the sides, built this giant troop like trailer, sort of a like an I don't know, some kind of wooden, I don't even know how you would describe it.
It was a it was basically a fort on top of a trailer frame.
Just imagine like an airsoft fort. So like if you guys were to go to play airsoft or paintball, if you'd go on one of those ranges, you would find, or one of those play arenas, you'd find there's like these little plywood structures. Just imagine that, but on top of a trailer, and now there's like gun ports on the sides for shooting out of it. And that's basically what you had.
It
and
was it was so jerry rigged. It was
it was
awesome.
extremely jury rigged. So then I had a genius idea one day during COVID. I was having a meeting with my family members on like a Zoom call. We would do these like every week. So I had the brightest idea. I'm like, Zach, you got anything going on today? No.
Yeah, that was yeah,
And then
I didn't. It was during COVID, so the
yeah,
answer
so
was no.
yeah, so I'm like, Zach, why don't you come over? We'll try the troop trailer out. And then he's like, yeah, why not? That sounds like a great thing to do. We'll test drive it.
I
So
don't
we
even think we were just pulling it. I don't even think we were doing anything out of it other than just pulling it.
yeah, so while we're on the Zoom call, Zach's trying to hold my camera to make sure that I don't drop the phone and stuff. We hook it up behind the dune buggy, and we're just jumping the mound system with this big structured trailer that's not bolted down to the frame. So obviously, you know where this is going. All right, Zach, you finish it out.
So while he's driving, and I think at one point he actually took the phone from me, we came up over the mound, and I just looked behind me, and builder's oversight. We never completely nailed down the fort to the frame. It was just sitting in the slots on the side. The whole frame came up out of, or the wooden frame came up out of the trailer and fell out and basically collapsed onto itself on its side. I just saw this. God, it was the size of this thing was probably 4 feet by 8, 9 feet from the trailer frame. Just saw this 4 foot by 9 foot wooden structure come up out of the trailer and hit the ground and collapse onto itself. We're both sitting there just like, that did not actually just happen, but it did. It did actually happen. I have the pictures to prove it.
Yeah, she was so much heavier than I thought. Like it was so easy to get it in there, like when it was like broken apart. But dude, that had a lot of weight to it. That was like what 500, 600 pounds. We could
It
not get it
was
back in
it
there.
was loud when that happened. That was loud, but it was hilarious. And I remember being on that Zoom call, and you're like, so this just happened."
Yeah, it didn't really work that well, but
Yeah. And then because the wooden frame came off, that is how we ended up strapping chairs and seats to it, which ultimately led to probably one of the luckiest moments of my life. Um, this was a couple months later. We had a chair strapped to it, and it was late at night. It was like 10:30 at night. I wanted to go back because I had to work the next morning. Um, we were just like, we needed to do a test ride because we thought we were going to have Porter's family members riding on this thing. So I hop on this lawn chair. I had a Bluetooth speaker going, and we're just whipping around his yard, going through wooden trails, probably getting that thing up to like 35 miles an hour. And like the third to last, second to last lap around, I just remember thinking something didn't seem right. Like something with the frame just did not seem right. Um, this seemed like it was shifting. We got to that last lap, came out of the wooded trail, hit the driveway, Porter gunned it, pulling it behind the four wheeler, and I just looking at that thought of, is the driveway getting closer to my face? And it was. The chair came off of the trailer frame. I went flying off the trailer. You were probably doing like 30 by that point. I smashed my face into the ground, thought I broke my arm. It hurt so bad. Went to work the next day. My face is all cut up and bloody. That hurt.
Yeah, unbeknownst to Zach, I came out of that corner. I was just roaring because he was holding on before, and it was just like, he's got it. There's no big deal. And then I look behind me. The trailer isn't following the dune buggy. The trailer is drifting away. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. So then I look
Yeah.
over the window through the rearview mirror, and there's no chair on the back. And I'm like, oh, I should probably stop and go back and see if he's okay. So
Yeah, that was. I remember there's a lot, I think, that happened at once between the trailer having an issue and the chair physically coming off of the trailer. But yeah, that was just like as soon as it was happening, I just knew like it was happening. There's nothing I could do to stop it. So I tried to block my face, but that ended up just smashing my arm. It was extended fully out as I was moving it, so I smashed my arm into the ground, which is why I thought I broke it. And then I hit my face on the gravel and rolled a couple times. I remember going back inside because I think as soon as you saw me, you're like, "Get back to the house," because I don't know, like my arm wouldn't even move. So we walk in, and I remember you sitting there all proper, looking at your mom, going, "Oh, we may have had a little incident," and she looks straight at you in the face and goes, "Are you good?" And then I just said, "I think so," and she just looks over at me and goes, "Oh no!" like I was just freaking all bloody. And then she goes, "Well, we need to get the nurses to come check you out." So your sister and one of her friends came up, and one of them looked at me and said, "You'll be fine. Don't worry about it." And the other one said, "Yeah, that's not good." So you know,
yeah, yeah, these guys are crap. What is it? CMA? I don't know what it's called.
I don't remember.
But yeah, they're trying to become doctors, so their expert opinion, I think it was their first year and from coming back from CCU
Yeah,
out in Colorado.
that would
And
have that would have been our freshman year of college. So yeah,
yeah, so
yeah, that was
my sister goes,
yeah,
he'll be fine. Sienna goes, I don't know. That doesn't look too good.
yeah,
So
yeah. The next day, my mom's like, "You better be careful. We'd be devastated if something happened to you." And my dad's response was, "You took a chair and bolted it to a trailer. That's freaking hilarious." So I got two very different responses to that.
oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, dude, I love springs and summers up here. Like, I mean, the winters are fun and all, and I love hunting during the fall and all that. But once it warms up, like that is the time I live for. I'd love to just work remote on the side of a lake, or
Oh,
out in
for
the woods
sure.
all
Yeah.
summer. I'd do that all the time. Go friggin' find a good job that's remote and just work on your computer on the side of the lake. And when you're done, get on a four-wheeler and jump hills and stuff. Dude, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's the dream right there. That's the Uper,
Yeah, look,
Wisconsin dream.
yeah, Huber. Hey, some people say that the UP is more like Wisconsin, so you might not be that far off there, you know?
Oh, speaking of
Yeah.
Uper, Porcupine Mountains, awesome, awesome place. If you guys haven't hiked
I've
there
never
yet,
been there.
oh, you've never been there?
I've never been there yet, but it's on a
Yeah,
list
we
of places I should go.
yeah, we're gonna go and we're gonna do a film. We're not a film, but we're gonna go film up there with us. Just doing like hiking trips and stuff. I'll show you guys pictures right now, but there we in the winter time, there's these huge glaciers that come in, and they kind of like work their way up to the shore, so you can walk out on the glaciers, and then there's a chasm about that drops about 9 to 12 feet, right up to the water line, because obviously it's a lake, so you're on Lake Superior, so um, there's waves crashing and water's moving, so obviously the ice can't freeze over constantly. Um, just doesn't get cold enough,
It's nice
or it
out
just
there. I
moves.
love it up in the UP. Have you ever been to Sault Ste. Marie, where the Sulaks are?
No, I don't think I've been there. I'm usually
We
around
should go
Marquette.
there. I got some real fun pictures from up there. All the big freighters go past. You just sit there.
Oh,
We
that's
know
cool
someone
too.
at a
Yeah.
campsite. Yeah,
What?
so we just sit at the person's campsite and watch these boats go past all day.
Well, anyways, I gotta take you up there in the wintertime because it's super pretty. So we can walk out on these glaciers, and we put an ice pick into the top of the glacier and run a rope down, and you can rappel off of the glacier, which is really cool. We did that with my
Huh.
sister
I
and
have,
our venture crew troop up there one time, and it's just awesome.
I have never went repelling. I was one of the kids at the school forest that didn't do it.
Yeah, I
I
didn't do the
wasn't the
one at
only
the school
one.
forest. That one was kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was cool.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but like, it's yeah. I don't really know how to
Yeah.
explain.
Yeah. No, it's
But
I get it though.
if we want to segue into lake life,
Oh yeah. That's where I was going. This
yeah.
the lake life up here is, and it's not just lake life. I mean it is lake life, but it's also that late spring or early summer, even in the late summer life of just it's not slowing down. It's actually in my mind when things speed up in the right way, where it's you go out and you enjoy the warm weather and get to be with all your friends after you've been cooped up all winter, especially now where people are so isolated. It's so
Hmm.
nice to just be out and go ride four wheelers and go through the trails and go up to that lake where we both go up to in Lincoln County, where we know some people, and just to relax and enjoy when Wisconsin's warm. When Wisconsin's in the summer, Wisconsin in the summer, I'd rather be in than one of the southern warm states, just because it's so nice up here.
Yeah, it's nice and it's super vibrant too with all the trees and whatnot. When my buddy came
Yeah,
up from Texas, he was like, "Dude, it's so green up here." So that actually surprised me. I thought, like if you live in a state your entire life, you don't know how much water different states get. Like, cause we get a lot of rain here, so our trees have like plenty of water. We have lakes, rain, and creeks and all that stuff. But sometimes Texas will
there
go without a rainstorm for a couple weeks, and it's just it gets kind of hot.
there is something that we said about thunderstorms here in the summer. I know some people hate them, but I'm due for a really bad storm or two in the summer. They're actually kind of fun.
Oh, they are fun. That's the best time to go fishing too.
Yeah.
Not in a
Well, you
thunderstorm,
got
just in a
that.
nice sprinkle. It's a really good time to go fishing. They really bite.
You got that private pond to go fishing on up there too. Dude, I mean, as long as the tornadoes don't hit, you're good, or you don't get struck
Oh,
by lightning,
yeah, you're
you're
chilling.
fine. Yeah, dude, one of the notes I actually wrote down for today is I've never been much of a tanner, um, like mostly because I spent 2.5 summers where my job was to ride a bike around our hometown, so I was always super tan. So I never really had that need to tan. And before that, I was either hanging outside with you guys because that was when we hung out together even more back then.
Hmm.
Um, but like just I was outside or in high school in the summer, I was working in retail, but I was outside. So I've always been outside and just been exposed to the sun, and people would get mad at how tan I would get. But now working inside a little more, I don't get as tan. So I'm like, next summer, I just need to spend as much time as I can sitting outside in the sun. I mean, I'm not an obsessive tanner, but it's kind of nice to enjoy that.
Yeah, a lot can be said for that too for me because I am very white in a way. So
Yeah. Yeah. I
getting
mean,
sun in the summer is extremely important because when we go out in the summer, we usually wear gear, airsoft gear, or if we're going dirt biking or or four wheeling, we have to wear this a lot of gear. In the south, I don't think you have to do that a whole lot. Well, not the south, but in Arizona, you don't have to wear as much gear because it's all sand, and usually it's sand dunes and that sort of thing. But in Wisconsin, it's you're going through lakes and puddles and stuff, and you don't want like dirt, like not dirt, but like you don't want mud just getting on you constantly, especially when you're driving to a bar or you're driving to like a place with a bunch of sliders. You don't want to get in there all wet, dirty up the place. Got take off some
Yeah.
stuff. Don't have to look everywhere and there's dirt. So
Well, even this is a warm winter. I was cutting trees out at our cabin and I slipped while dragging a branch. And it's December. This was Christmas Eve, and I wiped out on some leaves because there's no snow on the ground and got a muddy mess from that. So in the summer, especially if it's not a dry week, you have to kind of watch that, or else you're in the mud.
yeah, when it rains. Sometimes like I'm not even kidding you. The water level will raise so much. We have a problem at our local dam where like they have to warn everybody and they don't open that dam quick enough. It'll literally flood the entire town. And that used to be a problem even
Yeah.
back in the 1900s when they said that rainstorms are just really catastrophic to the local area. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
know even a couple. Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
Even a couple of years ago, they opened up the dams to drop the water level down so they could work on the dams. And
Oh
even
yeah.
that water level, they opened them up starting in Wausau up at Scott Street, and opened up ones further south going through Marathon County. I think they even went down towards Point. And
Oh, they
that
opened those
water
at
level,
Point too.
yeah, when they were trying to work to get that water level down, and then they slowed the flow as they went up toward Maryland Tomahawk. So my dad and I dumped a canoe up in the Pine River, which is outside of Merrill, and you could tell that they had done that because the water level in the Pine River was so low that, and by the time you finally got through, because there was only like 2 inches of water in there and actually hit the Wisconsin, you know,
Oh, I
it's
believe it, dude. I believe it.
yeah. Yeah, like I mean, they felt the effects of that for, and I mean, they had reasons they did that, but they felt the effects of that for miles and miles and miles, all the way out in the different lakes and different rivers.
Oh yeah. Ca- Mess up the little fishing population a bit, probably. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and I like,
it comes back in time.
yeah, and I even this summer, I'm not a big like, I mean, I'm not a big drinker at all, and I'm not a definitely not a drink on the boat kind of guy, but it is kind of fun to take a boat out into a lake, especially one that's has other people in it but isn't overcrowded. Just take some people out there and jump into the water or just enjoy it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Um,
It's a good time. Just lake
yeah.
life
Summer.
on the pontoon.
Yeah. Summers in Wisconsin are. I can say a lot for summers in Wisconsin. They're very good up here.
Yeah, you get a
Yeah.
lot of stuff done too. Like projects too. We should talk about our carpentry adventure. Well, I guess we kind of
Yeah.
dipped into it a
That could
little
be.
bit, but
Yeah. That could be
oh
a
yeah.
whole other podcast. That could be an entire other podcast just talking about building stuff, and that would. I know Cash was involved in the building of stuff a little bit, so there's
Oh
even some
yeah.
he could probably throw in there. I mean, I remember doing those late night Menards runs. Me and him would hop in the back when I had the Jeep, and we'd go to Menards and just buy the dumbest crap. I think that's how we ended up with those windows that cracked because we were buying windows on a fly at Menards.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, these windows are like little plastic crappy. I think they're for like chicken coops or something. I don't know why anyone would use it for an actual thing. Or
Yeah,
I
just for
can't
like a shed or something.
yeah, not even anything anything that's like under 5 grand, you'd probably use it on that. But they're like these little plastic brittle windows. We were supposed to use it for like a bulletproof glass inside of the transport troop unit, sort of a moving
For
fort thing.
airsoft rounds.
Yeah,
Yeah, to
but it
block out airsoft rounds, I think.
yeah, so we did a test run when we got back, and I rigged it all up, and we're just like, we're gonna test if it's bulletproof. Uh oh.
Yeah.
There goes
I think I
$40.
still I'll check when we're chatting and I'll see if I still have the video. I sat in the trailer and ducked down below when we did that test, and I don't think you got. I think the first round cracked it because I was sitting inside and just looked up, and I think that first round cracked it. Like, those were very expensive windows, and we all put a bunch of money into those too.
Oh yeah.
So I was a little disappointed, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I can't remember. It was we all bought the motor together, and then I was initially supposed to buy the motor, right? And then you guys had to pitch in because this girl couldn't type my email in properly.
God,
Um
yeah, that was hilarious.
okay, lady, please type in this ding 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 to get in the rewards
Yeah,
program. Tell her what
so
was
I
happening. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so I'll try to speak vaguely because I'd have to give out your email to say exactly how. But essentially, I mean, your name's Porter, and there was like a K in there and an L and an A. There's an H and like a bunch of other things, and it took like 5 times for her to even understand what your first name was. I have no idea what her deal was, but yeah. And then by like the fifth time, I have no idea what email it sent to. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, she said,
I know
"Oh, I'm
Cash was
sorry.
so mad.
It's not
So,
valid." I'm like, "Yeah, cuz you didn't
yes.
type it in right, lady."
Yeah.
So, we got the motor. I think it was yeah, we all split up. We got the motor together, and then one of you got the glass, and then Cash got
Yeah.
the wood. I split the wood with Cash, all right? And like we all spent around $80 on parts.
Yeah. And I got um the windows and I got some of the blades for the grinders when we were
Blades.
grinding metal
Oh yeah,
because
that's
we
right.
had to
That's right.
grind
That's right.
metal out. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I remember now. Okay, so I think I got the plywood and Cash got the 2x4s, and then you got the yeah, that was I mean, in concept, this was like it was super cool that we were working on something like that, but in reality, when we actually completed the project, it didn't turn out how we wanted it to, and it wasn't self sufficient, so we had to have something pulling it because we couldn't jerry rig the motor up without pouring another like $200 in. So we had the motor, the most like expensive part for the concept, obviously, but we would need like a whole nother set of systems just to be able to get it self-operable.
Yeah. It was it was a good in theory, but that's how it slowly took its path from being a fort to being something we could actually use.
Yeah, being its own transport to just being a little trailer. Well,
That was yeah, that was an adventure. We could talk an hour for building that fort.
oh for sure. That was oof, a lot of concepts there. A lot of design
Yeah.
processes too.
Oh yeah, that was a there was a lot of trial and error there, and a lot of the error became after we put stuff on. But I mean, in our defense, no one had ever really done that, so there wasn't a way to see a lot of the problems until they happened. Um,
So, do we want to segue into the next one? Exercise
yep,
and hiking.
yeah, there is a lot of hiking and exercise you can do in Wisconsin. I mean, right now it's the winter, so a lot of our exercise is indoors, but once it warms up, I love running, especially out by where your house is and my mom and dad's house is. I love
Hmm.
running out there. In the woods, there's all sorts of trails. There's the Ice Age Trail you can go hiking up and down our mountain. It's so easy to find somewhere around here to go enjoy the nature, go for a run, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, anything. I mean, it's the cities are pretty welcoming to biking through town. It just there's a lot of good resources to enjoy outdoor Wisconsin, especially once you hit that central part of the state and go north toward Eagle River.
Yeah, even uh is it the Dells? Is it called the Wisconsin Dells, or it's not the Wisconsin
Yeah.
Dells? It's just the Dells, right? Where we hiked that one time over that little
Oh, the Eau
dam. Is it the
oh, the
Dells?
Eau Claire Dells.
The Eau
The Eau
Claire
Claire
Dells.
Dells.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that's
really
Eastern
pretty
Marathon
spot
County.
too.
Yeah. That's very popular in the summer. It's kind of far out from the nearest big enough town, but it's definitely worth the drive.
It's like it's far east of Merrill, if you guys are wondering. Actually, it's in between Merrill and what's that?
Yeah.
That town?
It's east of Wassa, south of Anago.
Oh, Anago. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anago. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. It's basically northeast of Wassa, southwest of Anago.
So
Out off of.
it's not west it's not west of Merrill?
No, it's far east of Merrill. It's southeast of Merrill. It's in Marathon County. Out by it's kind of north of Hatley, a ways.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Actually, yeah, in fact, if you took Highway Y out of Hatley and followed actual Highway Y north, you would hit the Dells.
Oh, I gotcha. But if you guys want the prettiest spot to hike I've ever hiked in my life, I would say the Porcupine Mountains is basically like my top three.
That's a good one.
And then out there, obviously out probably Appalachian Mountains or Rocky Mountains has got to be like two and one because
Yeah.
the Rockies are just extremely pretty. But if we're keeping it in Wisconsin, I don't know what to say. I don't know for Wisconsin though. There's so many. I don't think I could list them. I mean, not list them, but
If
like
you,
I could. I don't think I could rank them evenly. You know what I mean?
yeah. If you're into just biking, like I know you are and your mom is, going up, there's some places up by Monaco that are pretty good for that too. And I know even around here, there's some good bike trails, although I haven't really got the chance to see them.
Yeah, there was Standing Rocks, really good. Marquette, really good too. If you guys are into like
And I'm,
downhill mountain biking.
yeah, I did a lot of like for work, my vehicle was literally a bike, so I can bike for a while and I've gone through jump courses and things like that. I'm not the most skilled biker when we all go out there, I'll admit that, but I do have fun. I'll take some small jumps and I can take a corner pretty
Oh,
fast, especially now that my confidence is up a little more. But I think even just literally biking around for 2 years in the wooded parts of the town we're in really helps just building that basic skill of staying on a bike and learning how to not crash.
oh, 100%. And biking is just a really fun sport to get into. It's not super cheap if
Yeah,
you want to get nice equipment, but it can be as expensive as you make it expensive, or it can be as cheap as
yeah,
you want.
and
So, and there's
and
plenty of
I
stuff everywhere. Plenty of courses, plenty of single track, double track, anything you're interested in. Usually, the Wisconsin community has that sort of thing in every city. So you're basically you're fine. Like anywhere you're kind of by the Ice Age Trail, there's bound to be a bike path too. So
yeah, and I know my first year, and this is when I really learned how hard you can could or shouldn't work a bike. Um, my first year when I had that job, I had a really crappy bike, but I was the only one who rode it because I was on afternoons. And I mean, it's just a crappy bike. So I had to learn on a bike that the gears would slip and it was just a disaster. Then I went to Days and took a nice bike, but between me beating the crap out of it all summer and other people driving it into the ground, I mean, you can see how quick you can destroy a bike. And those weren't several $1,000 bikes either. They were decent mountain bikes, but you just destroy them
oh yeah.
riding them around all summer. And even my third summer, I took a bike that had been all repaired up and started driving it. And by 3 4 weeks, I destroyed it. Yeah, there was I think, we had a group of 16 people and 13 bikes. So if you had a bunch of people working, people were fighting for the nicest bike, and I came in before everyone else. I was always snagging my bike, so everyone else would fight, and I'd go do my own thing.
Oh, I believe it. It's like getting a
Yeah,
nice textbook in school, like renting that one
yeah,
out.
yeah. Back in high school when they were all shared. Now at college, you just have to buy them. I kept mine because they were so expensive. I'm like, maybe someday I'll use them again.
A lot of good
You never
information
know.
though, at least that's good. Well, for the
Oh
most
yeah,
part.
I still have a $300 con law book and a several $100 emergency management book.
Oh, that's good. So that's actually
Yeah,
super helpful. We were talking about that before, right?
yeah.
Like I can
So
make an
if
escape, an emergency plan, or something like that.
yeah, if that one plan you had without naming it comes to fruition, you said I can be your emergency management coordinator guy among other duties.
Yeah, that'd be great. And also
Yeah.
our Karen our Karen guider, a guiding instructor or something.
Yeah. If those things ever come to fruition, I should actually sit down and think about what that would look like. Because that's actually something I should plan out if that's happening. I'll come up with some proposal and give it to you.
For sure.
Now that
Well,
yeah, we could have a whole other concept about all the policy development I've done within the last few months. Oh,
oh yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's in depth.
so there's a marketable skill
Yeah.
I didn't know I'd ever have. God.
Well, do we want to move on to the final topic of today?
Yeah, I don't know how much there is to sink our teeth into, but you don't know until you figure it out.
I guess so. So our final topic is, what are the best sit-down restaurants in Wisconsin?
So I'm gonna take a region starting from like central Wisconsin going up, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't remember the name of every one of them. Um,
Me neither.
there's 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 a really good one in Shawano. I honestly don't remember the name of it. All I can tell you is it reminds me of Lanford, Illinois. Um, and if you know what Lanford, Illinois is, you'll know what I'm talking about. Um, BB Jack's in Wassa is really good. There's also one in Anago. Blue Willow is really good. There's a couple in Merrill. Dixie Lunch. There's a really good Mexican restaurant up in Minocqua.
For me, I think the best one in Wisconsin would have to be, I don't exactly know what the name is, but it's on the northern Michigan and the Wisconsin border. They sell the best burger and the best mozzarella sticks I've ever had. They're super good.
Yeah,
And
those
yeah,
are that's a big thing in Wisconsin is like burgers, sandwiches, mozzarella sticks, fries, cheese
cheese.
curds, that
Yep.
sort of thing is really where, you know what I mean? That's where it really people sink in.
You really make your money in Wisconsin as a restaurant owner if you're selling cheese curds, mozzarella sticks, or onion rings. If you hit one of those three categories, or fries. Sorry about fries. I can never forget fries. But yeah, one of those four categories. If you're sinking in one of those, you're bound to be successful in Wisconsin. It's pretty
Yeah,
straightforward for the
that's
most part.
that's the thing about it is there are some restaurants that fail, but you're gonna see some that fail. But if you have a good location, a good menu, and just the right crowd, especially in these high profile areas like Minocqua, there might not be a lot going on right now, but as soon as that water clears up from winter, it's gonna be packed, and they're probably making bank up there in Minocqua.
Oh, dude, I could believe it. Even up in I think Gleason. Gleason has a couple good restaurants too. Not in Gleason, but around the neighboring lakes off the four-wheeler
Yeah,
trails because we go four-wheeling in Gleason a bit. Um
yeah.
it's just a really good spot because they got a ton of nice trails up there, but there is restaurants off of the four-wheeler trails, and oh man, best cheese curds too. Like I don't know how they do it, but if you guys ever had fair cheese curds and you're like, holy crap, these are the best things I've had in my entire life. You go to these restaurants, it's like fair cheese curds times two. It's like,
Yeah. I haven't gone four-wheeling out by Gleason with you yet. I've been up there with you for other things. Gleason is probably one of my favorite areas around here. It's not the biggest or most populated area in the state. A lot of people gravitate toward Tomahawk and Minocqua, but it's really not that far away from either, and it's just a very fun place to be. There's still very good people around there. You're going to see people on the lakes, and you're still close enough to the bigger, and I say that in air quotes, like Merrill, Wassa, you're still close to stuff, but you're very secluded once you actually hit Gleason and go north of there.
oh, for sure. Yeah, then you got nothing till like maybe Eagle River. And then,
Yeah,
well, yeah, you got a
especially if
couple.
you go that way. Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
hit Tomahawk and you can hit Minocqua, Rhinelander is not that big of a like an attraction town, but Minocqua and Tomahawk, but really between that and those two Eagle River, you don't really got much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you said Minocqua, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about Anago. I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. Anago's a good one too. I mean, they small town at times can be down on their luck, which is probably the nice way of putting it. But
Oh
a lot
man.
of good restaurants, lots of fun little industry up there. Some manufacturing plants up there. I mean, they're big enough where they have a bigger fleet farm than Wassa does, and then I think even that Point does.
Yeah, because Anago, they got it's a nice little industrial town, but they got good restaurants there too. It's actually kind of flat up there. I mean, if you go, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I was looking up a map and I found it on accident today, but it showed the elevation of Marathon County, and it just shows how I think we take for granted how actually cool it is, not just in Marathon County, but also Lincoln County, where we frequent, and Langlade County, that there's a lot of cool hills in this region of the state.
Oh, for sure. And if you go straight north from here, I mean, it dips down at Stevens Point, but if you go straight north,
Yeah.
it just keeps it all the way up there through the whole Ice Age Trail. You kind of get nice uh hills and the telepathy. I forgot what the word is.
Elevation, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
But I actually found out, and I wasn't even looking for this fact, so I feel like a nerd now that I know it. But the highest point in Wisconsin is up in Price County, northern Wisconsin. It's
Really?
actually tall. Apparently, it's tall enough on a clear day you can see Rib Mountain from it, which is impressive because
Yeah.
that's a distance. Price County, the Rib Mountain south of Wassa is a that's impressive.
Yeah. There's so much. But yeah, so we could wrap it up around here if you're thinking we covered everything.
Yeah, yeah, I think we got a lot more than I thought we would actually. Looking at my timer, we've been talking for at least 45 minutes of good stuff.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our first episode of the Trailer Boys podcast. Um, we're gonna be uploading frequent, I think at least once a week, and if not, we'll just upload a little later, but no big deal. You have any final words for the folks out there on the YouTubes?
I'm excited for what this is going to become, especially because I know you and I haven't had the chance to hang out as much as we did recently, and just seeing not just us, but also some of the other people that we just hang out with and new people as well. Just kind of seeing how can we, have fun talking about not just Wisconsin, but just about life. We all had similar backgrounds, but I think there's differences between the ways that a lot of us think and the way we do things, where it'll be interesting to see that all play out.
Oh, for sure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you like this content, and we'll see you in the next one.